Hello, this is Michael.
And this is Kaylee.
Now, I'm sure your professors have all told you to avoid the deadly sin of plagiarism.
And the best way to avoid plagiarism is to be knowledgeable about what plagiarism is. So, Kaylee, what is plagiarism?
Well, let's start with the Oxford Dictionary definition. The practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as your own. Now, Michael, what are some reasons that would cause students to plagiarize?
Well, there's several reasons. One might be that they simply run out of time. A lot of students don't have the best time management skills. They might go partying on the weekend and then wake up Monday morning and realize, oh, I have a paper to do by Tuesday. So in their haste to get it done, they copy a bunch of sources and put it all into one essay and pass it off as their own, which is obviously unacceptable. Another reason might be a pressure to succeed in school. So a lot of students have pressure from parents or scholarship opportunities, job opportunities. There's lots of pressures to get good grades in school. And if you're not confident in your own writing, you might feel as though you need to copy another author's writing and pass it off as your own in order to get that good grade. Finally, you might feel, or you might not know how to cite your sources properly, and that constitutes plagiarism as well.
That makes sense, but no matter your reasons, plagiarism is never ethical. Plagiarism is unfair to your peers who have worked hard to create an honest paper, and in the end, you're just cheating yourself of an education.
You're also cheating the academic community by stealing their ideas.
That's very true. As an academic community, we need to uphold our academic integrity, and the university and your professors are here not only to teach you about the material of your course, but to teach you how to research, how to understand the material, and other skills that will help you in your future career.
So despite their best intentions, sometimes students find themselves confused about how to avoid plagiarism. An excellent way to start is to learn how to cite properly for your respective course.
And many universities offer services to help you with your citation styles, such as the Learning Skills Center at UMBC.
But sometimes even if you do know how to cite properly, that's not always enough. Some courses, for example, like psychology, aren't exactly accepting of direct quotations in your papers, so you need to know how to paraphrase properly as well.
And paraphrasing is rewording a paragraph or whole article in your own words.
One cautionary note about paraphrasing, though, sometimes you might think that you're writing down an idea in your own words, but you're actually not. What's this called, Kaylee?
This is called cryptomnesia. This is when you read an article, and then when you're going back to your paper to write it, you forget that you've read this article, and then you write down the ideas from this article and think they're your own.
So to avoid cryptomnesia, you can use a number of different methods. One that we really like is using index cards. So as you're reading through articles for your paper, you can just jot down the source of the information on the top of the index card.
And then underneath that, write down any relevant information. And if you do write down a string of words word for word, make sure you put quotations around it so you don't forget. Sometimes students still find it difficult to identify what is plagiarism.
Plagiarism is a tricky issue, Kaylee. It's not always as clear-cut as the dictionary definition. So in order to make it a little bit more precise, cognitive researchers attempt to create an operational definition of plagiarism by specifying the exact number of words in a row that follow another text.
So what is this number of consecutive words that identifies plagiarism?
Well, it's not always that easy to pin down. Many different studies have come up with an approximate number that usually ranges from about 3 to 10. But just remember that this number isn't necessarily a result of research, but rather it's the researcher's operational definition.
So the other problem is cryptomnesia. Just complicates the issue in trying to find the exact number of words in a string that can identify plagiarism.
In addition, the difficulty of the text increases the likelihood that students will use similar sentence structure and vocabulary from the original article.
Despite all this confusion and new research, we still need an operational definition for our professors to use when evaluating our papers on plagiarism. Each researcher does have a number that they specify as a word string that is between 3 to 10.
And just as each researcher has their own operational definition, each professor has their own operational definition as well. So follow their guidelines and you will avoid the deadly sin of plagiarism.